Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Yeah, thanks for watching this little channel here. Do please like and subscribe, all the rest of it. Don't forget to buy my book. Now, I'm going to talk today about headlines in the newspapers today. I believe it's the Sunday People who were saying that Paul Gadd, better known as Gary Glitter, is living a life of absolute luxury behind bars. Well, he was previously held in HMP The Verne, which is in Dorset, I believe, and it's a Category C prison. But he was recalled to prison because he'd served 8 years of a 16-year sentence for child sex offences. And when he was released, he started searching the internet for the dark web so that he could further indulge his perversions, shall we say. Anyway, he was recalled to prison and now he's in His Majesty's custody, but apparently enjoying himself. And he has got quite a lot of money. I don't know if you recall the film a couple of years ago, it's called The Joker. It was about a psychopath. And in that film, we see the Joker dancing up and down these stairs to the tune of Rock and Roll number 2, I think it is, with Gary Glitter. You know that one? Come on, come on. Yeah, that's the kind of thing, yeah. Anyway, they featured that in the film, and Gary Glitter, Paul Gadd would have received a considerable sum of money for that. And of course, he does receive money from the royalties from his recordings. Strange thing about Gary Glitter, I actually spoke to the guy who bought all his back catalogue, all his recordings, and was on the verge of releasing the best of Gary Glitter, a CD compilation. And he must have pressed 100,000 of these, and the following day that these were ready, it was headlines in the Sun newspaper about pervert Gary Glitter. Yeah, well, he is a pervert. He served time in prison in, I think it was in Korea, was it? Or South Korea or somewhere like that. And interfering with little boys or little girls or whatever it is he was doing, it was something perverted anyway. There's no depth to this, is there? Anyway, they say that he's living a life of luxury. Well, I'm sure we're all happy for him, aren't we? Yeah? Wouldn't want him to suffer. And the prison system's changed now. They give them guitars, Xboxes, televisions, radios. What else have they got? Computers, yeah. Access to all these courses. My grandson's at university at the moment. His accommodation there isn't a great deal better than the cells that they have, generally speaking, these days. And it's costing him something like 4,000 or 5,000 a year to stay there, on top of the fees for the university, which is it's the way to do it, eh? Also, I see in the news today, the society's going mad, a very interesting article by Peter Hitchings. Look it up, Peter Hitchings, yeah. It's about anarchy in the UK. He says that we're on the verge of anarchy because of the riotous shoplifting that's going on. People are just walking into supermarkets and big stores like the Co-op or Asda or whatever and helping themselves and walking out. Now, strangely enough, I do know somebody who was a friend who's head of security for a big shopping complex in Preston, and he tells me that the actual management instructions, if facing a shoplifter, is that you say, would you mind going back into the shop and paying for the goods that you've not paid for? And the instructions are, if they walk off and don't pay, leave them alone. Yeah, don't lay your hands on them, leave them alone. They've tried calling the police. The police say approximately how much were these goods worth. They say maybe £200 or £300. No, it's not worth our time coming out for that. So the police have abandoned the crime of shoplifting. In Greater Manchester, in the last 12 months, the number of burglaries solved by the police, none. Not a single one. What are they playing at? What are the police playing at? What is happening to the criminal justice system? It's going downhill. Well, it's not going downhill. It's at the bottom of the hill as far as I can see. And the police, I mean, not only are they not resolving the crimes, if you go to the Metropolitan Police in the Greater London area, they're committing the crimes. Murdering people, raping people. There's 2,000 Metropolitan Police officers under investigation. What kind of a world have we managed to find ourselves in? I mean, when I was involved in the criminal justice system, it was unheard of. You know, you very, very, very rarely heard of a prison officer being prosecuted. Nowadays, you just go and have a look. There's one every week. Some prisons have got 30, 40 prison officers. Now inmates. Banged up. What for? Well, trafficking and inappropriate associations with prisoners. And the reason that they're inappropriate associations, they put in females, young girls, teenage girls in charge of a male prison. What on earth do they expect? I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. It's beyond me, you know. I can only say that the system's out of control. And the idea of appeasement. Do you know, in certain areas, the police stations only open from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then not at all at the weekends? Absolutely crazy. I mean, what I assume that the criminals are only working short shifts, half weeks, yeah. They don't know what they're doing, do they? The world has gone. Somebody has put the lunatics in charge of the asylum. I sincerely believe so. Anyway, tales from the jails. Be worried, folks. Anarchy is coming to you. See, the thing is, I mean, I live in a relatively quiet area, but when somebody comes to my door banging and clattering, want to get in, I phone the police. Nobody's going to turn up. They ain't going to turn up, are they? Nobody. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. We'll give you a crime number. I'll give you a crime number. Eh? No, I'd give the person who's trying to get in my house a crime number. 999. Dial for the ambulance, because you're about to need one. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to give you a warning here, folks. Ding dong ding. Yes, it's the terrible song dinger. It strikes fear into the hearts of brave men. But I'm not going to sing today. I love a lassie, a bonny Highland lassie. She's as sweet as the meadow in the vale. She's as sweet as the heather, the bonny blooming heather. Anyway, there you go. That was for Paula. This is a poem that I wrote for a guy I used to know, a very famous man in his day. He wrote a book in 1956 called The Outsider, which was a massive international bestseller, propelled him from fame to fame all over the world. And he'd been sleeping rough on Hampstead Heath, studying in the British Museum and British Library and researching his book, which is all about alienation and artists. And his name's Colin Wilson, by the way. And so massive was his fame that he had to escape London because he just couldn't go anywhere. He went to live in Cornwall at a place called Goren Haven, and that's where he had a house, and the house was called Tether Down because he'd reached the end of his tether. Seriously. And his wife was called Joy. She's a very nice lady. She was a Dublin University graduate, and they were married and they lived there most of their married life, as far as I know. When I went down, and he was a brilliant cook, was Colin Wilson, by the way. Brilliant cook and very, very clever. Everybody had been there. The Beatles had been there. John Betjeman had been there. And talking of John Betjeman, Colin Wilson was telling me that when John Betjeman was there, the poet laureate, he started to write a poem about Colin Wilson, and Colin had it written down, and he said, "Here, I'll show you this." It was, "When the wind from Goren Haven blows across to tether down." He said, "You can have that, John. See if you can write a poem that goes with it." So this is the poem that I wrote for Colin Wilson, using the opening line by Sir John Betjeman, the poet laureate, who, by the way, John Betjeman's grave is at Trebethereg, which is near Padstow. I've been there. Difficult to get to, but very well worth the journey, just to say hello to John Betjeman, although I never met him in real life. But I did know Colin Wilson, and this is the poem I wrote for Colin Wilson. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. Tether down, the home of Colin Wilson. When the wind from Goren Haven blows across to tether down, sweeping in sea-salted ozone from that cobbled Cornish town, and the sacred scent of fishes fills the early morning air, then let me be in that safe lodging, for my joy is ever there. When the insults of this world can touch me nevermore, and the curfew-sounding bell calls me to an unknown shore, close in then the outsider, keep the wildest storms away, be they errant human nature, or the gales from Verrian Bay. Wrapped in stone and ancient oak, where the peace lies ages deep, let me rest by Goren Haven in that long eternal sleep. And if some speak my name and whisper of a fleeting world renown, let their comments catch the wind that blows across to tether down. See, his home was called Tether Down. It was on an outcrop of rock and land at the side of Verrian Bay, near the little village of Goren Haven in Cornwall. He's gone now, Colin. See you, mate. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Tales from the Jails.